The fairy tale ending, the prize for winning the game, the quiet, monogamous life in a $1 million mansion, paid for by the sacrifices of 3 other women. For Kody and Robyn Brown, this was supposed to be their happily ever after. But every fairy tale has a dark side. Hey COCO crew, and welcome back to COCO Gossip. What you are looking at is the beginning of the end. We have received information from sources deep inside the Browns' circle that Kody and Robyn's monogamous dream is a financial lie. They are not thriving, they are drowning. The kingdom is bankrupt, the castle is cracking, and we have the exclusive story of how they are allegedly facing the humiliation of foreclosure. This is the story TLC will never show you. We are about to break down the leaked financial details, the secret spending, and the legal notices that prove their perfect life is an illusion. And I'll tell you right now, if you live for this kind of exclusive behind-the-scenes deep dive, you need to do 2 things for me. Now, let's pull back the curtain on this house of lies. Let's call the scene of the crime what it is, the Shira Chateau, an $890,000 palace purchased in 2019 at the very moment the rest of the family was in financial and emotional chaos. This wasn't a family purchase. It was a power move, a declaration of victory. While Christine was begging for the family to move back to Utah, while Janelle was preparing to live in an RV, and while Meri was a ghost in her own family, Kody and Robyn signed the papers on a 4,300 square foot monument to their new monogamous life. Let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. Sources in the Flagstaff real estate market estimate their all-in monthly payment, mortgage, sky-high property taxes, insurance, utilities to heat and cool a home that size, is in the ballpark of $7,000 a month. That's $84,000 a year just to keep the lights on and the door open. A staggering sum for any family. But for a family whose income was about to be surgically cut by 75%, it wasn't just ambitious, it was financial suicide. For over a decade, the Brown family operated on a fragile financial model. It required all hands on deck. The 4 pillars of their income kept the entire enterprise afloat. First, Christine left, and with her went her massive LuLaRoe income. This was the money that, as we all know, paid for Isabel's life-changing surgery when Kody wouldn't step up. That income stream, gone. Then Janelle, the steady hand, the career woman with a background in accounting and a stable real estate license. She was the financial bedrock, the one who actually understood balance sheets. Her income gone. Then Meri, the OG, another LuLaRoe top earner, and more importantly, the sole proprietor of a thriving, profitable business, Lizzie's Heritage Inn, that was a consistent cash cow. Her income and her financial safety net gone. And finally, the TLC paycheck. With the show now splintered, the contracts were undoubtedly rewritten. The money that once flowed to a single family unit is now divided 4 ways. Kody and Robyn's slice of the pie is the smallest it's ever been. So you're left with a catastrophic financial reality, CEO-level expenses on an entry-level income. The math was never going to work, so a normal couple facing this reality would panic. They'd downsize, create a budget, cut back. Kody and Robyn allegedly did the exact opposite. They spent. Our source, Flagstaff friend, who witnessed this firsthand, describes a culture of denial-fueled spending that is truly shocking. It was a performance, our source tells us. They had to look like they had won. Robyn's obsession with her sanctuary meant a constant flow of high-end home goods. We're talking Pottery Barn, Crate and Barrel. She wanted the curated perfect life she saw in catalogs, and she was spending like she had a blank check. She was outfitting her adult daughter's living spaces, ensuring everyone had the best of everything. And Kody? Kody was no better. Kody's ego is his most expensive asset, our source claims. He needed the new truck, the top-of-the-line outdoor gear, the endless stream of gadgets. He saw himself as the patriarch of a dynasty, and he needed to look the part, even as the dynasty was burning down around him. They were bleeding cash, trying to maintain an illusion for an audience of 2, themselves. This wasn't just mismanagement. This was a psychological need to prove to the world and to themselves that destroying their family had been worth it. And then, one day, the real world came knocking. Our source with knowledge of their financial dealings described the day the certified letter arrived, the notice of default. This is the legal document that starts the foreclosure process. It's the bank's way of saying the game is over. Can you imagine that moment? The sheer ice-cold panic. The moment Robyn realized that her precious knickknacks and designer decor meant nothing. The moment Kody realized his patriarchal bluster couldn't pay the mortgage. The dream was officially a legal nightmare. The Shira Chateau was no longer a palace, it was a ticking time bomb. Our source claims the mood in the house shifted from arrogant denial to sheer terror. The whispers turned to arguments. The blame game allegedly began. They were trapped in their million-dollar prison, and the walls were closing in fast. So the stage is set. The king and queen are broke. The castle is on the verge of being seized. The biggest lie in the Sister Wives universe has been exposed, and this is where desperation kicks in. What do you do when you're out of cash and out of time? You start making desperate moves, and in Kody and Robyn's case, humiliating ones. We pulled back the curtain on Kody and Robyn Brown's great financial lie. We exposed how they are allegedly drowning in debt, buried under the mortgage of their million-dollar mansion, and have received a formal notice of default from their lender. Their kingdom is crumbling. Tonight, we answer the question, what happens when the king and queen run out of money? We'll take you inside their panicked, desperate, and frankly pathetic attempts to stop the bleeding. But most importantly, we have the story you've been waiting for. The details of a secret, humiliating phone call where a desperate Robyn allegedly begged one of the ex-wives for a massive cash bailout to save her from ruin. The climax of this story is pure, poetic justice. Let's get into it. With the foreclosure clock ticking, our Flagstaff friend source describes Kody as a man possessed. He allegedly went into a manic spiral, desperately trying to conjure cash out of thin air through sheer force of his own ego. It was a masterclass in failure. First, there was the motivational brand. Kody reportedly believed he could become the next Tony Robbins, launching a series of online courses for men. He wanted to sell courses on covenant leadership and family financial dominion. The sheer lack of self-awareness is breathtaking. He wanted to sell financial advice while his own house was being repossessed. Needless to say, the alpha path led directly to a dead end. Next, a pivot to social media. He allegedly tried to become a cameo star, thinking fans would pay top dollar for a personalized message from the patriarch himself. But the reviews were reportedly brutal, with many demanding refunds after receiving rambling, incoherent videos. It was failure after failure, a pathetic, frantic dance of a man who had built an identity on being a leader, now exposed as someone who couldn't even lead his own family out of a financial hole he dug himself. While Kody was flailing, Robyn turned to the only thing she had ever really called her own, the ghost of my sister wife's closet. Our source alleges that Robyn became obsessed with relaunching the defunct jewelry line, but this time with a new manipulative twist. She wanted to rebrand it as a story of her own survival and persecution. She genuinely believed she was the victim in all of this, our Flagstaff friend tells us. She was designing pieces that were supposed to represent resilience and overcoming hardship, completely oblivious to the fact that the show's audience sees her as the hardship that Christine, Janelle, and Meri had to overcome. She allegedly poured the last of their liquid cash into a new website and sourcing materials, convinced it would be her saving grace. The result? Crickets. The store launched to absolute silence. It was a catastrophic misreading of her own public image. She wasn't the relatable survivor she imagined. She was the villain of the story, and nobody wanted to buy her merchandise. The jewelry box was not a treasure chest. It was a coffin for their remaining cash. Their schemes had failed. The bank's deadline was days, not weeks away. They were at the absolute end of their rope, and this is when Robyn Brown allegedly picked up the phone to make the most humiliating call of her life. She didn't call Christine. She knew that bridge was ash. She didn't call Janelle. Janelle was too practical and would see right through it. She called the one person she believed, after years of neglect, might still have a flicker of loyalty, Meri Brown. Our source with direct knowledge of this call recounted the conversation, and it is a chilling portrait of emotional manipulation. Robyn allegedly didn't even mention her own name at first. It was all about the kids. The call reportedly started with sniffles and a shaky voice. Meri, I didn't know who else to call. It's about the kids. They're going to lose their home. She allegedly painted a sob story of epic proportions. She talked about her children's stability, about how this house was their only safe harbor after all the turmoil of the moves. She framed it as Kody's failure, an attack from the world, anything to deflect her own role in it. Then came the ask. It wasn't direct. It was couched in fake sisterly love. I know we haven't been close, but you've always been the rock. We just need a short-term loan to get right with the bank. I'll pay you back every cent from the new business. You would be saving this family, Meri. You'd be saving the children. She was pushing every button she could find. Meri's historical loyalty, her love for the children, her identity as the first wife. It was a desperate, calculated gamble to exploit Meri's heart one last time. For 10 years, the world watched Meri Brown get smaller. We watched her absorb neglect, disrespect, and isolation. Robyn was banking on that version of Meri still being on the other end of the line. She was dead wrong. She was speaking to a CEO, a world traveler, a business owner, a woman who had clawed her way back to life. According to our source, Meri listened to the entire tear-filled performance without saying a word. When Robyn was finally done, there was a beat of silence. And then Meri delivered a response that was so polite, so professional, and so utterly final, it was nothing short of iconic. She reportedly said in a calm, clear voice, "Robyn, that sounds like an incredibly difficult and stressful situation, and I'm sorry you're going through it. However, my financial advisor has been very clear with me. All of my assets are now tied up in my own long-term business and retirement strategy. Offering a personal loan of that size is simply not possible for me. I wish you the best in finding a solution." Boom. No anger, no drama, no mention of the past. It was the calm, collected, devastatingly professional response of a woman who is no longer emotionally entangled. She turned Robyn's plea for a family bailout into a personal loan request and rejected it based on financial advice. She didn't just say no. She drew a boundary of diamonds and hung up the phone. She ended the conversation and the cycle of exploitation forever. And that was it. The final door had closed. The great financial lie of Kody and Robyn Brown was sealed. With no one left to bail them out, they are left with only the consequences of their choices. They got the monogamous life they craved, but they have to live with the public humiliation of their failure to sustain it. This wasn't just a no. This was a declaration of independence. It was the moment Meri, and by extension Christine and Janelle, officially closed the book on the Brown family patriarchy. The women who built the empire are now thriving on their own terms, while the king and queen who seized the throne are now prisoners in a castle they can no longer afford. If that isn't karma, COCO crew, I don't know what is. What do you think of Meri's epic response? Was it the most powerful moment in Sister Wives history? Let me know everything in the comments below. And if you love this investigation, please, one last time, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and share this video with another Sister Wives fan who needs to hear this story. Thank you for watching.